So this is the first video that I've made since I started uploading the music stuff, the DJ stuff, which I'm planning to stream tonight. It'll be the first time I've streamed on the DJ channel. I did attempt to do that before, and then I discovered that in order to live stream, you have to request permission for some reason, and that takes 24 hours. So I wasn't able to stream on the channel. I had to use this channel. But now everything should be set up. It'll be the first live on the new DJ channel. But to get to the point of this video, in the red pill community, and you know what? I'm getting sick and tired of using the word community. I actually hate it. I really hate it. And I can't really express the reason for that eloquently enough. It seems insincere. It seems I don't know the word I'm looking for, but just something about this idea of all these communities which are really just overlapping online interests. The such and such community. There is no community. There is no community. There is no online community. Okay? They do not exist. There's no such thing as an online community. But regardless,
in 3 miles, keep right way 36.
People like to talk about the change in women over the last 70 years. And I have done this. I have done it because there is something objective to talk about there, seeing as it is the woman's role that has fundamentally changed, which has impacted the dynamic of marriage and sexual relationships in society. But what people rarely talk about, especially in the so-called red pill community, because of this, it's very secular in nature. It has to be that way because mass appeal must appeal to secularism. You cannot have mass appeal within the framework of religion or faith. Mass appeal can only be secular, and so anything that has mass appeal will be secular. And the secular nature of the red pill community is that it doesn't bring religion into the discussion. The reason I bring that up is to say that though women have changed fundamentally, from a religious perspective, they're only 50% to blame for that. And there's a lot of discussion made about the patriarchy and the role of the man. But everybody seems to start and end this role of the man with a financial burden, or the burden of subsistence, and the burden of self-defense. But what is the character of this defense? The only one that's mentioned is the physical defense from an assault or an attack or whatever it may be. But never does anybody mention the spiritual component, the spiritual defense, the fact that sin is always at the door and was always at the door prior to the Son of God and after, post the Son of God, and the mission and the gospel, still sin is at the door. And part of that patriarchy, ostensibly, is to protect women and children from sin. Now, to speak of the woman's role again, there's a lot of fuss made about women's participation in the faith and the church, insofar as people say that women should not be involved. I just saw like a homeless guy there, something with his shirt off, and it's like almost freezing, 0 degrees, and he's got his shirt off. And women shouldn't be involved in teaching, at least having the authority to teach the gospel is what they do not have. And yet women are still the prize of the religion. Women are the prize, they are the glory of a moral civilization. I've briefly touched on this in past videos, that women are the reflection of the zeitgeist, or there's another way to say, women are the reflection of the cultural values that are inherent to the society. If the culture is corrupt, the women are corrupt. If the culture is righteous, the women are righteous. And following on from that, the children, if the women are corrupt, the children are corrupt. If the women are righteous, the children are raised righteously. Now, in both of these cases, you have the men as the
Keep right way for 06.
the provident man is provident over society and women and children. Now, if man is not providing righteousness, then the women and children have no example to follow. Just as man follows God in righteousness, man should be giving it downwards to the women and children. Now, we have failed. Women have failed to hold on to their beauty, but men have failed to protect this beauty. Beauty being the word that crystallizes righteousness and civility. The beauty of the soul. And I can talk about who did this and how, but it still falls upon the men to take the responsibility for allowing sin to enter through the door, for allowing the women to be corrupted, for not rebuking all instances of sin, which is the man's role, mimicking Christ and the apostles who rebuked sin. Christ came to rebuke all sin, to destroy all sin and death. And this was done insofar as the gospel was fulfilled. The message was accomplished. The 12 apostles did the work. The New Testament was written. The Holy Spirit was given onto believers, and yet the men failed to carry on the Spirit of Christ. There are many today who, it can be said, blaspheme the Holy Spirit. That's called the unforgivable sin. Surely if men are committing the unforgivable sin, then we should not be surprised that our women and children have ended up the way that they have. The MGTOW community likes to make fuss about, well, men really want good women that have such and such values and do such and such things. And yet for 70 years we've done virtually nothing to suggest that this may be the case. We've in fact done the opposite. We have engaged in the promotion of sin. We have dismantled the church piece by piece. And we've scorned the faith. We've made a mockery of our culture, and so we're being colonised. Again, we can talk about where this thrust comes from, and I have my opinions, but it's still going to come down to the man for allowing this to happen. Certainly World Wars I and II played a big role in the destruction of the religion and the culture, because the strongest of our men went and died. The types of men who are not afraid, generally, of women and children and the ability to rebuke sin. And they knew that if the world hated you for rebuking sin, know that it hated me first. This is the wisdom we've forgotten. As we've become more feminine, more socially coerced into this state of being like sheep, but without any cunning. Sheep without the wisdom of the serpent. The sheep without wisdom of the serpent are simply a lost sheep. And that is what we are. We're a sheep who has abandoned our shepherd. And we hear all kinds of foreign voices around us now, such that we don't even know who the master is. And yet the men still try to place the burden of our winter of civilization on the women. well, they are 50% to blame. Because I would never intend to absolve women of their responsibility. But this goes far beyond simply calling out simps. It's not only the simp that has done the damage. All men will be at fault. Every single one. Except in the cases of the devout Christian men, but they are very far and few between. I don't claim to be one, but I can see the difference. And so I know that the false religion is coming, because there is a lot of insincere intentions and insincere messaging around. We have merely a caricature of Christianity, and it's surrounded by a zealotry which is dangerous. It's dangerous, and I have spoken about this too. I've also spoken about this, and it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm of ignorance and zealotry, which is going to instigate the false religion, and the result will be 10 times worse than it is now. And it will be led by a tyrant. It will be led by a tyrant, because that is what men deserve. It's what they've become. Men are no longer deserving of beauty. What they have is sin, and so their women are sin.
In 1 mile, begin over 2 right lanes, then turn right onto A406.
And this is the final state of mankind. This is the result of the hubris and pride of mankind. And there is no reversing it. There is only egress. There is only coming away from the world.